Good evening everyone, I'm James Ford-Bannister, BAFRA Director of Training for 2020 and 2021. In this video, we'll be revisiting question 78 from the annual BAFRA exam for 2020. Let's break down the question. It's 2nd and 8 at Team B's 40-yard line. There's 1 minute 56 remaining in the second quarter. A66 snaps the ball high to quarterback A10, who has to jump to control the snap. While still airborne at Team B's 45-yard line, A10 pitches the ball forwards to A88, who has run across in front of A10. A88 runs wide to the right and runs out of bounds at Team B's 30-yard line. During A88's run, B24 blocks A73 below the waist, 6 yards beyond the neutral zone. As you can see, I've highlighted the key areas of this question. As with any written question, it's often easier to see the play in visual format, so let's take a look at this one. Centre A66 is going to snap the ball high to A10, who is airborne, whilst A88 crosses across the field towards the right hand side, and A10, who is still airborne, is going to pitch that ball forwards to A88, who is going to carry on downfield with A73. A73 is going to get blocked below the waist by B24, 6 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, and A88 is going to continue out of bounds at the B30. Now that we've seen the play, let's take a look at the answers to the question. And I'll start with part 3, what is the game clock status, which I've declared as the easy part because it can be found in one rule, Rule 332D2, which states starts on the snap. With fewer than 2 minutes remaining in the half, a Team A ball carrier, fumble or backwards pass is ruled out of bounds. And as you can see, there's 1:56 remaining in the second quarter, the final quarter of the first half, and A88 runs out of bounds at Team B's 30-yard line. As a Team A ball carrier has gone out of bounds, the clock will start on the snap. Now that we know what the game clock status will be, let's look at parts 1 and 2 of the question, down and distance. Now there's a Team B foul on this play, and that's governed by Rule 916B1. Players of Team B may block below the waist only within the areas defined by lines parallel to the goal line, 5 yards beyond and behind the neutral zone extended to the sidelines. In this case, Team B has committed a live ball personal foul for an illegal block below the waist, and this is covered in the final line of the question. During A88's run, B24 blocks A73 below the waist, 6 yards beyond the neutral zone, and not inside the permitted 5 yards. Now, whilst the Team B foul may be one that we see a little more commonly within our game, Team A has also committed a foul on this play. But that foul is a little more obscure, and I'm going to break that down through 3 key rules, starting with Rule 219-2D, which tells us that a snap becomes a backwards pass when the snapper releases the ball other than via a hand-to-hand exchange. In Rule 243A, which I've slightly truncated, it tells us that to catch a ball means that a player secures firm control of a live ball in flight before the ball touches the ground, and that player must then touch the ground in bounds and maintain control of the ball long enough to enable them to perform an act common to the game. Now, we'll often think of this in a traditional quarterback throwing a ball downfield in a traditional legal forwards pass play, where a receiver would catch the ball in the air and come to the ground and have to maintain control of that ball and find themselves able to commit an act common to the game, or a footballing move. But this also applies to a backwards pass. And Rule 942 tells us that a backwards pass in flight shall not be batted forward by the passing team. Team A has therefore committed a live ball foul for illegally batting a backwards pass, as A10 has never actually possessed the ball due to being airborne when receiving the snap, and then tossing that ball forward or pitching the ball forward to A88 while still in the air. So we know both teams have committed a foul on this play, but what does that mean in terms of down and distance? Well, Rule 10.4 tells us that if live ball fouls by both teams are reported to the referee, the fouls will offset and the down will be repeated. And we know that both teams have committed a live ball foul on this play, an illegal bat of a backwards pass by Team A, and a personal foul, a legal block below the waist by Team B. These will offset, and the previous down and distance will be replayed. It's at this point that I should point out that despite the fact the penalty for Team A's foul is only a 10-yard penalty, whilst Team B's personal foul block below the waist is a 15-yard penalty, these yardages are irrelevant when offsetting penalties. And it is also true that if Team A committed more than one foul, or Team B committed more than one foul, provided both teams have committed live ball fouls on the play, all fouls will offset and the down will be repeated. Now we know that this play was 2nd and 8 from Team B's 40-yard line, so the succeeding down will also be 2nd and 8 from Team B's 40-yard line. After all that, what do we know? The answers to the question. What will the next down be? The next down will be 2nd down and 8. Which yard line will the ball be placed on? The ball will be placed on Team B's 40-yard line. And what is the game clock status? The clock will start on the snap. Thank you for listening to this breakdown of question 78 from the 2020 annual BAFRA examination. I hope that you've learnt something from this video and hope that you will return to us to listen to more of these breakdowns in the future. Have a great evening. I've been James Ford-Bannister, Director of Training for BAFRA 2020.